Okay, so because tonight is Gimel Nissen, so the share will be connected to Pesach. Pesach la'asad lavei. So what's going to be different with Pesach la'asad lavei from Pesach the way it is b'zman hazeh? Of course, number one, that we're going to be eating the carbon Pesach. Maybe should help it to still be this year. V'neichal shaman azvachim and apsachim in the year of Tafshinai and Tes. Shouldn't have to wait. We're early enough that we can still prepare the carbon Pesach and everything. I mean, even the correct, right? So what I gave a share about that last year, if you remember. So Moshiach Rabbeinu told the Yidden the mitzvah of carbon Pesach on a Shchedish Nissen. It was about both. The mitzvah the Yidden heard was Rosh Chodesh Nissen. They had 2 weeks to prepare, but technically, as long as you prepare 4 days in advance, it should be enough, because you have to have the carbon 4 days in advance to be mevaker from a mum.
Even these days?
Could be. Okay, maybe we'll leave that for next year. No, lav dafka. We'll leave that for next year. But today, what we will discuss is we're going to get to the achila of the carbon Pesach, to eat from the carbon Pesach. So there's an interesting Gemara in Pesachim that says as follows. It's in the end of Daf Pehei Amud Beis. Omar Rav, Gagin va'aliyos loy niskachu. The rooftops and the second floors of the houses were not niskachu. They're not holy. They don't have the kedusha of the place where it is. If it's in Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim has a certain kedusha. The city of Yerushalayim has a kedusha that you can eat kachim kalim in the city, but if it's a rooftop or a second floor, you can't eat their kachim. And the same thing also regarding the Beis HaMikdash. In the Beis HaMikdash, if there are any rooms that are off the ground, or if you go on the roof of the Beis HaMikdash, there's no kedusha of the Beis HaMikdash there. So the place, the Beis HaMikdash, the Azara, you can eat kachim, but not in Gagin Valiyes. That's the halacha that Rav said. Frek the Gemara, Eini, this is not true. V'ha'omar Rav mishum Rab Chiya. Rav said in the name of Rab Chiya, Kizeisa pischa v'halila poka igra. The kizayis of the carbon Pesach that was eaten, and the halila is the halal that they sang when they ate the carbon Pesach, poka igra. The roof would crack, or it is as if the sound of the halal and of the commotion was so great that it was mamish as if the roof cracked. So from this it's mashma that what happened here? What's up is the roof, because there wasn't enough space for the people on the ground floor to eat, because b'chlal the carbon Pesach had to be eaten with groups. So there wasn't enough space on the ground floor, so they went up onto the rooftop, or they went up onto the second floor and they ate there. So the Gemara says, my love, don't you think the pshat here is the achli be'igre v'amri be'igre? They ate the carbon Pesach on the roof, and they also said halal there on the roof. In other words, it says that they sang on the rooftop, so much so that it looked like the roof was going to crack under their feet. They were singing and they were so excited. So if they said halal there, you say halal in connection to the eating of the carbon Pesach. So it's safe to assume l'chayra that if they said halal there, they ate there. So you see that they ate on the rooftops, and Pesach is a carbon, and they have to eat in Yerushalayim. So how were they able to eat on the rooftop if Rav said that Yerushalayim wasn't sanctified to be holy, that you could eat there? So the Gemara answers, light. That's not the pshat. The achli ba'arev v'amri be'igra. They ate, they had the carbon Pesach on the ground floor, so they squeezed into the house on the ground floor to eat it, because you can't eat on the rooftop. But then later, when they were singing the Hallel, so there was more space, so they opened the door and they went upstairs, they went onto the roof, and that's where they said Hallel. That's the conclusion of the Gemara. So they said the Hallel on the ground floor. Huh? They ate the carbon Pesach, that is, on the ground floor, and only Hallel they went up onto the roof. In the Beis HaMikdash, yeah, they would made as a snashim. But here we're talking about the Gemara b'Pashtus here. We'll see soon, but the Gemara b'Pashtus here, l'chayr, is talking about Yerushalayim. Okay, so what do you see from this Gemara? L'chayr, very clear, straightforward in that Rav said that in Yerushalayim, the kedusha of Yerushalayim is only on the ground floor, not on the roofs, not on the second floor. Which means that if Moshiach comes and we're going to eat the carbon Pesach, so you be on Yerushalayim, make sure that you can eat on the ground floor. If there's a building, if there's a house that has a second floor, or a high-rise building, or any floor off the ground, you can't eat the carbon Pesach there, because the kedusha of the Yerushalayim does not extend upward, only on the ground floor. What's the pshat loved? First of all, it's the second floor. It's not loved.
I'm saying if it's within, I'm saying within 3 tvachim.
Of what?
You're saying from the ground.
Yeah.
Good. So that's the ground floor.
Is it?
Huh? You're saying if you're standing on a step, and that step is 3 tvachim within the ground, say that. Yeah, loved is loved. But if you're going up to a second floor, you're going up to the roof.
10 feet above.
Yeah, if you're going onto another floor, it's definitely off the ground.
It doesn't have to be attached to the floor now.
You have to be on the floor. Yeah. It's not a din of floor. The kedusha of Yerushalayim is only on the karaka of Yerushalayim, not above that. Okay.
Yeah, what about some
Yeah.
tvachim? Is it a problem? That's the Indian?
No, karaka. You have to be in the karaka. Zeh steht da. Okay, so there is a Taisvis. The Taisvis is not here actually. The Taisvis is in Makis. The Taisvis in Makis in the end of the second Perek. There's a Gemara there that talks about eating meiser, and the Gemara there is discussing a tree that's positioned exactly on the border of Yerushalayim and outside Yerushalayim. And you have the trunk of the tree, which is inside Yerushalayim, or outside Yerushalayim rather. The trunk is outside Yerushalayim, and the branches of the tree are hanging over into Yerushalayim. This is a famous Gemara about Ikroi v'Noifai. As linan basa Ikroi or as linan basa Noifai. You go after the trunk, and therefore even if you're on the branch which is hanging into the city, but because the trunk is outside, you can't eat on the branch, or you go basa the knife, wherever you are. If you're in Yerushalayim, you can eat even though the trunk is outside Yerushalayim. That's the discussion of the Gemara. Meiser. The halacha of Meiser is that you have to eat Meiser Sheni, the Gemara is talking about. Meiser Sheni has to be eaten in Yerushalayim. So if you're on the tree, on the knife, on the branch of the tree, and the branch of the tree is in Yerushalayim, and the trunk is outside Yerushalayim. So the question on the branch, the person is standing in the airspace of Yerushalayim. No. He's just he brought his meiser, and he's standing now on the branch of the tree of Yerushalayim. So could he?
Also, if there's a house on the wall.
Yeah, it's a similar shaila. Yeah.
Right, okay.
So Taisus there asks the question. Wait a minute. There's a different issue here. The Gemara is discussing the ikir and the knife, but there's a different issue here. If he's not on the ground, how could he eat the meiser sheni? If the Gemara here says that only the karka of Yerushalayim is holy, not on the branch of a second floor. If a rooftop is not holy, so then what's with the branch? The branch is the same thing. So Taisus gives two answers.
On the branch?
Yeah, he's eating it on the branch. He's standing on the branch and he's eating it.
Under the branch?
On the branch. No, not under. If he's under the branch, he's in Yerushalayim. If he's under the branch, he's in Yerushalayim.
He's on a branch of a tree that's
outside Yerushalayim, exactly.
But he's in the chayma.
Yeah, he's standing on the branch.
On the branch. See?
So Taisus gives two tirutzim. One teretz Taisus says that it's a branch that doesn't have a lot of leaves in it, so he can see the floor of Yerushalayim, and really he's in the ear space of Yerushalayim. The avir, Taisus says an interesting thing. The avir of Yerushalayim is holy. Only thing the Gemara here in Pesachim is saying is that if you are on a second floor or you're on a rooftop, which separates, and that's you're on another place, so that is separated as a separate mokaim. That gets designated and defined as a separate mokaim away from the floor of Yerushalayim. But if you're on a thin branch or on a branch where you're sort of in mid-air, the avir of Yerushalayim is holy. Now, it's a very pashto svara. What's the pshat? When they made Yerushalayim holy, they only made the ground holy, not the airspace holy. The whole Yerushalayim is holy, including the airspace. But if you're on a second floor, you're in a house and you're on a second floor, so that's considered to be a space for itself, a separate space for itself, outside of the space of Yerushalayim. But in the airspace of Yerushalayim, there's no issue. That's one teretz Taisus says. Another teretz Taisus says that even if you're mamish on the branches and there's a lot of leaves in the branches, and you don't see the floor of still you can eat it over there. And this kind of a pirush what Taisus means. The Marsha says that what Taisus, the pshat and Taisus over there is that this Gemara in Pesachim is only talking about kachim kachim. The discussion of the Gemara regarding a person that's eating kachim not on the ground floor, he's eating it on a second floor, on a rooftop, is only discussing kachim kachim. But right, basically a Beis HaMikdash issue. But when you're talking about kachim kalim in Yerushalayim, even if you're on a branch and it's mamish, you can't see the floor below you, and it's like a second floor, it's like a place in itself, it doesn't matter. The kedusha of Yerushalayim extends even into such a place. As I learned at the Marsha, pshat in that Taisus. Which means then that according to this Taisvis, in Yerushalayim you could eat the Korban Pesach on a second floor, on a third floor, on a rooftop. It doesn't have to be dafka on the ground. The Gemara here is talking about in the Beis HaMikdash. That's all.
Don't you typically eat it like on the Harabayas?
What?
It's like different groups?
No, in Yerushalayim.
They would shechter and
Yeah, they would shechter and then they would take it home to their house to eat in Yerushalayim. That's the big shaila here. So the shaila that all the Mefarshim ask on this Marsha is, you look over here in the Gemara, it's talking about Gagim V'Aliyos in Yerushalayim. It's not talking about in the Beis HaMikdash. Even the Harabayis, by the way, is not the Beis HaMikdash.
No, I know, but
Benegay to the Korban Pesach.
I'm saying, I always thought that the three groups, maybe it's only
That
Arab,
was Benegay to the
Shabbos,
Shechita.
or
That's
only
only
just
Benegay to the Shechita. Benegay to the
eating,
Achila, sure.
Not back
There's
home.
no place for all the Eden to eat over there. So the Shaila is Bepashtus.
Planets have enough place in the Beis HaMikdash area.
An issue, right? It's not an issue, right? Faint. It's another famous Gemara over here in Pesach that discusses Benegay to how large of a crowd there was and the nest that there was and so on. Yeah. So, but Pashtus, the Gemara here is talking about Yerushalayim. The Kzayas of the Korban Pesach is talking about Yerushalayim, so it's a big chiddush to say. I mean, this Pshat of the Marsha is a big pellet. It's talking dafka about the Beis HaMikdash. This is the question that all the Mefarshim ask in this Marsha. The Mishnah L'Melech asks this question. Others ask this question. But the Marsha was machaven to a Rashba. The Rashba in the Tshuva says the same thing. So the Rashba, I mean, is already a Marsha also, and the Rashba, but both say this thing, yeah, that the whole issue of a second floor or a rooftop is only an issue benegay to the Beis HaMikdash. That the kedusha does not apply to the rooftop. In Yerushalayim, the kedusha does apply. Okay, so this is the shit of the Rashba and the second teretz of Tosfos according to the Marsha. But there's a ritva in Makis over there that says a slightly different pshat, which possibly this is what Tosfos himself over there means. The ritva says that even in Yerushalayim Gufa, there's a distinction between there's different things in Yerushalayim. There's kachim. There's kachim that you eat in Yerushalayim, karbanis, kachim kalim. And then there's maisris. Maisris is a lower level of kedusha. Maisris is you're not so machmer when you get to maisris. So therefore, when you get to maisris over there, taka, even if you eat it on a rooftop or on the branch, which is what the Gemara is talking about in Makis, it's okay. When you get to kachim has to be mamish in Yerushalayim on the ground floor, and you can't be on a rooftop. That's the chiluk of the ritva. So the din that the Gemara here in Pesachim says when you get to the Korban Pesach applies even in Yerushalayim, that you have to be on the ground floor. The Gemara in Makis is talking about maisris, which is a whole different thing. That's the Ritva's pshat. So again, we come back to the pshat that you have to eat dafka on the ground floor, the Korban Pesach. Another pshat, which Rabbi Menachem Zembe in a Sefer Zera Avram says, he says an interesting pshat. He says as follows, that the emes is, B'negeya to Yerushalayim, there are two different dinim. There's one din of the Kedusha of the city Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim is the holy city because it's a place that the Eibush chose to be where the Beis HaMikdash is going to be. The lashon of the pasuk that it says is B'mokim Asher Yivchar Hashem, and that pasuk Asher Yivchar Hashem says actually in Parshas Re'eh B'neget the Korban Pesach, and that pasuk is referring to the city of Yerushalayim. And the city of Yerushalayim is the place that the Eibush chose, and therefore it's a holy city. That's one prat. Then there's another din, Mukav Chayma. Yerushalayim is unique for the fact that it's surrounded by a wall. And he brings rayas that Mukav Chayma is something which is significant b'negeh to karbanis as well, b'negeh to kachim as well. The halacha of kachim is that you have to eat it in a city which is surrounded by a wall. And therefore he says a meir de chiddush. Technically, or not, theoretically, not technically, theoretically speaking, a carbon should be allowed to be eaten in any city that's surrounded by a wall. Lav dafka Yerushalayim. Elamai, technically there's a problem because you're not allowed to take the kachim out of the city that's surrounded by a wall. The moment you take it out of Yerushalayim, so it's out of the city surrounded by a wall. You can't take it to a different city which is surrounded by a wall. But theoretically, the din of kachim with the drone.
And it's not out of.
Sure. Okay. No.
But I don't understand. Where do you see this?
This concept of Mukav Chayma, he brings clear Makaitis from the Rambam in different places. He brings clear Makaitis that the din of Kachim Kalim is to be eaten in a city that's Mukav Chayma. Mukav Chayma has a separate kedusha, has a separate darga, a separate Indian that it's Mukav Chayma. I don't know if it's kedusha. You know what? You might be right about that. Maybe it's not the kedusha shebedavar, but it's sort of a designated area. Kind of the point is that the kachim shouldn't just be taken to anywhere to be eaten in any place. You could take it to who knows where. It should be should have a certain ramification to where you're taking it to. So mukav chayma is surrounded by the wall. Don't take it further than this. Okay? If a person knows that he could take his kachim to the other side of Eretz Yisrael, he'll freeze it and put it in the way, and he'll forget how you won't eat it in the right time. B'chlal. I'm just saying a svara, lav dafke it's the right svara, but I'm saying theoretically. Kopanim, so he says, by Korban Pesach it says beferish b'mokim asher yivchar Hashem. So by Korban Pesach here it clearly says that you have to have mokim asher yivchar Hashem, that it should be Yerushalayim dafke, not just a city which is mukav chayma. Memeli says very pashut. The Gemara in Pesachim is talking about Korban Pesach. Has to be b'mokim asher yivchar Hashem, which is in Yerushalayim, and the kedusha of Yerushalayim is only on the ground of Yerushalayim. Like the Gemara says, lo niskachu gagan v'aliyos. The Gemara in Makis is talking about Meiseris, and the same would apply to any other kachim, that the main thing is that it has to be mukav chayma. The mukav chayma includes even the airspace. The airspace is also considered to be mukav chayma, not only the ground floor. So for Meiseris and for other kachim, gag and valiyos is not an issue. The Gemara in Pesachim is specifically talking about the Korban Pesach. It's a murder the Gechidish she's saying here. It's a Geschmack Achaf, that there's a separate din. There's a separate din for Korban Pesach, because the Pasuk says, B'mokim asher yivchar Hashem, and that Mokim asher yivchar Hashem is only the ground floor of Yerushalayim. Only the ground of Yerushalayim. Right. It doesn't say the Lashon yivchar Hashem b'negei to other kachim. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is. No, all korbanos have to be in Yerushalayim, but he's saying that in Yerushalayim there's two dinim. There's a din of mukav chayma. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Another approach. So far, Roiv Day is hold that you have to eat the Korban Pesach on the ground floor. But the Minchas Chinuch says that if you look into the Rambam does not bring this din of Gagin V'aliyas Loin Iskachu, that you can't eat kachim on the second floor. The Rambam, you look, there's different places. The Rambam talks about the Kabbonis. There's a few different places. In every place, the Rambam never mentions this din that the Gemara here L'chayre clearly says that Gagin V'aliyas Loin Iskachu, and that you can't eat the kachim on the second floor. So the Minchas Chinuch is mechadish. Was Menzogen that the Rambam was mashmit. The Rambam skipped this din because he had the question of Taisvis. There's a beferish braise that the Gemara brings in Makis that you can eat meiseres on a branch. You don't have to be on the ground floor. So the Rambam held that it's a machlokes. It's machlokes asugiyas, or machlokes of braises, machlokes tanoim. And the Rambam is paskin like the Gemara in Makis that if you could eat the meiseres on the branch, so you could eat the Pesach also on the second floor, and you could eat all kachim on the second floor. And it's not there's no Agbala b'negei to Yerushalayim where you could eat it. And he's Mosef actually a svara, the Achreinim are Mosef a svara, and they say that this whole inyan of that only the ground floor has the kedusha only applies to the Beis HaMikdash, not to the city of Yerushalayim. Why? What's the pshat? What's Beis HaMikdash? Beis HaMikdash, the kedusha of the Beis HaMikdash is the bayis, is the place, or the hazara. The hazara is the ground floor. The Beis HaMikdash is the house, also the ground floor, not the gag. The gag of the Beis HaMikdash is not part of the kedusha of the Beis HaMikdash. So when you talk about the Beis HaMikdash, the concept of ground floor makes sense. When you talk about Yerushalayim, do you have to eat the kachim inside a house b'chlal? The kachim kalam that can be eaten anywhere in the city of Yerushalayim. Do you have to eat it in a house b'chlal? What's if someone wants to eat it outdoors? Wants to eat it in the street? Can eat it anywhere. There's no din b'chlal that has to be eaten. It doesn't have to be in a bias. So just like you can eat it outside anywhere in the street, so you can eat it you can eat it in the airspace of Yerushalayim as well on a second floor. You can eat it anywhere. Yeah. So in other words, he's coming from a different angle here. The point is that the whole Maila before we were talking about this from the angle of that maybe the ground floor is like a hefsek. There's this concept of a hefsek that if you're going on a second floor, so it's keilu you're in this separate space. You're in a new makom. You're not in the city of Yerushalayim. So he says no. There's no such a thing. If you're in the airspace of Yerushalayim, the floor is not a hefsek. You're in the airspace of Yerushalayim. What kind of hefsek? Elamai says, when does the second floor matter if you're supposed to be in the bias? Inside the bias means the ground floor. The second floor or the rooftop that's not inside the bias. The azara is the ground floor. If you're on the gag of the azara, you're not inside the azara. Well, that all applies to kachim that has to be eaten in the Beis HaMikdash. There's a din of the ground floor, and inside the Beis HaMikdash also the ground floor. But by other kachim that you can eat in Yerushalayim B'chlal, so there's no din of a bias. You can eat it outdoors, so you can eat it in the airspace of Yerushalayim, even on the second floor.
So which kachim needed Beis HaMikdash?
Kachim, only kachim, take. Yeah, and a chanamis. No, so I'm just giving the hasbara, but when you get to the Gemara, he says that it's a machlokes hasugyas. When you get to that, he says, taka, the Rambam held that it's a machlokes hasugyas. The Rambam is paskening like the Gemara in Makis, where it says that he can eat maisris on the branch, and if you're eating it on the branch, so it's good, so you can eat the Pesach on a rooftop also.
Which Gemara is he trying to answer? Which Gemara is he going according? Which Gemara says that dafka kachim that are...
Kachim.
Yeah, there's no such Gemara.
Right. Okay, but it's a hesber saying even according to the Gemara Makis, that says that benegay to Yerushalayim, you could eat it on a branch, but you only see in that Gemara that it's arguing benegay to Yerushalayim. There's only a hechrich that it's arguing benegay to Yerushalayim. There's no hechrich that it's arguing benegay to the Beis HaMikdash. The Gemara is talking both benegay to the Beis HaMikdash and Yerushalayim. So you have a hechrich that it's right. So you only see that it's arguing benegay to Yerushalayim. You don't see that it's arguing benegay to the Beis HaMikdash.
You see it by the Indian when you see the Kurdish kachim that Taka went into
Right, right.
So you see the mechitza.
That's a mechitza. You see that's the issue is Taka in the base of meaning.
I don't know if that's because of mechitza. How come the mitzad that you're not supposed to look around? So the best way to make you not look around is
as if you're surrounded. No.
I'm not sure if it's in on the floor, on the ground. That's the over here. He's now on the ground.
So then it's just that it doesn't have the same kedusha of the Beis HaMikdash.
I don't know if that's
Exactly.
also is very tall. So you have to be
Or to lower him down in the box. The way
I'm saying you couldn't paint the top of the roof if he was standing on the ground. So you had to be in some sort of box. No?
Okay, so conclude with one point that which we learned. We learned many times when we get to the Maimah Chazal that it says in a few places, and the Medrash and in the Gemara, that at L'Asad Lava, Yerushalayim is going to be mispashit in the whole entire world. Right? So, yeah. One of the reasons that it says, so what's the nafkamina? First of all, what's the nafkamina of the fact that Yerushalayim is going to be mispashit? It's not just a ruchni is the Ge'inyan. Of course it is. A ruchni is the Ge'inyan. The kedusha of Yerushalayim is going to be mispashit into the whole Eretz Yisrael. But the nafkamina of this is benegay to the achila of kachim. L'Asad Lava. According to most deists, that since the Gemara says it's going to be nispashit, you'll be able to eat kachim kalim into the entire Eretz Yisrael. So the Chassam Sofer says that the reason for this is that Eretz Yisrael is going to be nispashit into the whole world.
Right.
But Yerushalayim is going to be nispashit into the whole Eretz Yisrael. So the Chassam Sofer says that according to this Gemara, the reason for this concept that Yerushalayim is going to be mispashit is because to make space for all the millions of Yidden that are Asad Lava are going to come to eat the kachim, to make space, not that it shouldn't have to kveshach everybody in Yerushalayim, so they have to make space. So if that's the pshat, so yesh makam loymar that just like Yerushalayim, Asad Lava, to make space is going to be mispashit this way, is even according to the deis that it's only on the karka, maybe it's going to be mispashit this way as well. No, can I just say something? There's no mocker for such a thing, huh? Kopanim, you see this as a spashtus of Yerushalayim. What?
The nisim of Yerushalayim is not going to be. There's not going to be enough.
Should tell me entirely a makam shalom Yerushalayim. Yeah, the nisim are there. The nisim are there, but afal pikain.
What do you need that it should be mispashit?
Be both. Be the nisim and mispashit. And you'll still need a nest with all the millions of Yidden, and especially after Tchias HaMesim and all the datas together.